Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are doing a spotlight of a free Steam game called How Do You Do It? Now, before we go any further, I particularly at the moment should warn off that this is going to be PG 13 in its talk, and maybe the visuals are a little too mature for let's say anyone who is 11 years old or younger. And as such, if you somehow have gotten to this video because you saw my experimental video of the wheels on the bus, which is for a 2-year-old, uh, this is adult talk. You need to turn this off now. Uh, get a parent to watch it first and see if they say it's okay. Maybe your parents will let you watch it. It's if you are an adult, we're not going to show anything very graphic, but the talk may be a little graphic and such. It is going to be related to intercourse and procreation. So, what is this game? Is right now it's paused, and I use the term game very, very loosely on this one. And the only reason why I'm showing it as kind of a different experiment, do my viewers want me to cover Steam games if they're free? Do my viewers want me to cover games if they're bad? And that's what these two games, that's two things that I can all off the top say about this game is it is free and it is bad as far as the game goes. But to get back to what it is, this is a game that was made at the Global Game Jam in New York City during 2014. I'm reading this straight off the Steam page. That's why uh, the screen is paused. It was made in 3 days. According to the video that I watched, it seemed like 5 people worked on it at most. And frankly, I would have thought the number was even less. And it's been nominated and shown at festivals including Indiecade and the Independence Game Festival. So that's all I'm going to read off the screen. I will say that it has 1,039 reviews right now on Steam, and it is given very positive. I don't think it deserves that. But let's start the game now. So, how do you do it? Well, what we're going to have here is 3 screens, and the main screen, the screen that's the actual game, really. There's possibly that there's more than 3 screens, 3 frames. Is going to be this little 11-year-old girl. Notice how I said this is not appropriate for an 11-year-old, and then the story is starring an 11-year-old girl who decides to remove the clothing from her um, well, I'm gonna call her Jane, and I'm gonna call the guy Kevin dolls. Those are Jane and Kevin dolls, is what I'm gonna say. And she takes their clothes off and then uh, attempts to mash them together to figure out what sex is. And to start off with, I'll just put my own personal thought out there. If she's 11 years old, uh, she must be private schooled because I thought it was closer to 8 or 9 when public schools did sex ed, and 11 seems a little late. It sounds. I hate to go there, guys, but at 11 she's probably already had her period, or several of her friends have, and that's usually what kicks off the whole sex ed class, and the only reason why they do it at all. But let's go ahead and press any key to play. This game is super quick, so we're going to go through it probably several times and just have some talk, show these awful graphics. The graphics are tiny. If you're watching this right now and it's just a box in the top left corner, sorry. Um, couldn't do anything about it. Could not go into full screen mode. Could not use my software to stretch this out 1080p and all of that. Although that's what I'm recording it at, so I'm gonna see what Google's cropping can do. If this is stretched out and all blocky, that's because it's been stretched out. I'll only know that after Google does its magic on it. But I am recording this at, in theory, 1080p, 60 frames per second for this terrible game with terrible graphics. But who knows? So let's press any key to play. Here's screen 1. You have the mother. She's leaving for an errand. The girl. Here's screen 2. Looks in this cell phone, watches her. Here's screen 3. She gets her Jane and Kevin dolls out. I call them. I've made up these names because you control them with the J and K buttons. So we'll have to figure out. We control the rotation of the two with that. So what I would recommend for this first run, we look at her dialogue and see what she's saying. The dialogue is the same. It is a little bit of flavor, it's a little bit of writing, but that's about all that's going to happen this first time, because I'm going to try and play this as if I didn't actually know how sex worked, and let's just see how long we can stretch this out and feign ignorance. Now, there you're hearing the noise right there of her coming back, her mom coming back, but that's not the end of the game. The game doesn't start until I move, so the noise isn't even lined up. It's just time to, if you, somewhere around where you would start if you just hit the WASD buttons and all of that. So let's just focus. I'm not going to hit any button except for one, and let's just focus on what she says. So J rotates the guy. It's so cloudy in the car of the Titanic. They were hugging all like, I don't hug mommy like that. She's talking about a scene in Titanic. I haven't even watched Titanic. Don't people usually stand and hug? What kind of hug is on the hug of the floor? Like this? How many hugs are there? There's a lot about hugging I don't know. I hope she doesn't see this. They kiss too. Kissing seems nice. Mimi said that grown-ups have sex. Maybe sex is a lot of kissing and hugging. Mom doesn't like that word. Why doesn't she like it? She doesn't like the sex words. I hope she doesn't see this. So then here's your 5th frame. She's all blushing and hiding the thing, and the mom comes back to the 6th frame. So 7. I might have done sex 2 times and I didn't get caught. So press any key to play again. This is the, I don't know if we can change the and you didn't get caught part, but I do suspect, I do know we can change the number of times. And the number of times is literally the number of buttons I pressed. So we'll do a run where we just sit around and see how many buttons I can press in this short time. So I missed a little bit of dialogue there, but the most of the dialogue is she saw a sex scene in Titanic and so being a movie and it being probably an edited version she saw, she didn't see much of anything or understand anything. So I don't know what W is going to do. It's going to move them further apart. D is going to move them about, let's see, W actually moves them up, S moves them down, A moves them closer apart, and D moves them further apart. So, if I was a scientist, I would say that I have to give them new names now too, because the J rotates the, that doesn't even make sense. The J button on the keyboard is on the left, but it's rotating the guy on the right. And then the K button is rotating I mean, it's not even working. Sometimes the J does the person on the left, sometimes it does the... What is going on? It's like toggling. It's the game is like toggling. I hate, this is ridiculous. I have to complain about a terrible game, about its control. Much better games have felt my wrath on poor control and poor programming. But this one is, J is apparently clockwise or counterclockwise, and K is anti-clockwise or clockwise. Let's see. Let's try this again. So J makes him rotate, and he is going clockwise. And now it changes. I've just held down the J. I did not take it off. And now she's going counterclockwise. And now it's changed again. And he's going clockwise. This doesn't make any sense. And we're kicking her foot, and I'm sure that she appreciates this. This is how you have sex, right? You just do cartwheels and you kick each other's feet and limbs as they fling about. I have not taken my finger off the J button. That's all I've done. And it's just changing. It is literally just changing. It's just randomizing the inputs. Okay, so if I was a scientist, to get back to that thought, and I was gonna just try to determine what the right way sex goes, I would think it would be back to back would be the right way, because obviously then both creatures could be looking outward and defending themselves against any possible predators. That's kind of how I would design it, at least, is just back to back. And well, if there were any way to eliminate the whole process, if you were doing like fish, where one fish ejects the eggs into the stream and the other fish ejects the sperm into the stream, and then they both swim off and they avoid the sharks, that's probably the best way. But for these mammals, I would say back to back. And so my next thought back to back would be side to side. So just like this. This is sex, right? That way they could both be using their eyes to look out for predators. And now I'm just thinking scientifically here. I'm just trying to learn. So this makes perfect sense, right? Side to side. Maybe you could do it so that one was facing one way and the other was facing the other way. Right now that I don't have the option to rotate in 3 dimensions. I hate to suggest they make how do you do it too, but I don't know. So she mentions Mimi too. We'll also notice that this girl's blushes and sometimes, depending on what you're doing, which, alright. It is also worth mentioning that on the YouTube video I might have had sex 122 times. Who knows? That it's worth mentioning that the first programmer or creator of this game on the YouTube video that plays on the Steam thing is a lady. So this isn't just a bunch of guys, although all the other 4 are guys. And she's saying that this is basically a story of what she actually used to do. So, based on a true story, how do you do it? That's gotta mean something, doesn't it? I'm really experimenting on how long I can stretch out a video for a game that only lasts 3 minutes, too. But, if you've seen any of my other videos, yes, I can. It is a skill that I uniquely have. I have a certain set of skills that usually involves making games last really, really long time. Alright, so if it's not side to side, my next thought would be, it would be feet to feet. There we go. So I would do this. Well, no, I'd just do this. Feet to feet connection. Yep, feet to feet. That way you could one can face one direction, one can face the other. The limbs would be furthest from each other. So you'd be as wide and as big as you're looking. I keep messing up here. Just trying to do feet to feet here. Make it look like one giant animal so any tundra lions come about won't try and attack you. That would be my next thought of how it was designed and how it worked. So to get back to the creator, I will say on a personal note, and I am no person really to be making this statement, they all look a little weird to me, and I look really, really weird. I wouldn't be trusting in my kid's sex ed with this game. I don't think that's what this is. It's supposed to be a game for kids. I think this is supposed to be a statement about society and how some girls are raised and not taught things that are important, or how we over sensationalize how sex and how it's not as big of a deal as people keep making it out to be. So my next thought would be head to head. The brain matters head to head, so of course if we just had like head to head, maybe ear to ear, mouth to mouth, all might work. Maybe I'd say like the back of the head to the back of the head. That's probably a good brain transfer of genetic material. The brain has the most important organ. Well, the brain is the most important organ in my opinion, so obviously it would be very useful and very necessary for procreation, right? The head to head, brain, right? That's how sex works, right? To get to the sex education speech that I think I want to do here is, I'll just keep it simple and say teach sex, teach it early, and teach it appropriately. Little kids are full of questions. At a 4-year-old's age, you answer the questions appropriate to their age, and they just go, huh, and that's it. And then at a 5 years old age, they will ask a little bit more questions, you answer appropriately. Never make it a thing to be embarrassed about, never make it a thing to be ashamed about. It's just they want knowledge, the same way kids want knowledge for everything else. And so all you really need to do is just answer the questions appropriately, if you are the parents. Now, if you are not the parents or legal guardians of a kid and they ask you those questions, the appropriate response 100% of the time is go ask your parents. Because you can certainly hit a minefield there. And there definitely are parents out there that want their kids to be 30 years old and not understand how sex works. There are parents like that. There are the parents that are too ashamed to talk about it, and maybe you need to, as an adult, to have an adult conversation with the parents, which will probably end up in a fight, but maybe it's worth saying anyways. But certainly if you're not a parent, legal guardian, or a teacher who has been given a mandate from the government to teach sex ed, it's not your place to introduce those things. You open yourself up to so much potential trouble. And having said all that, I can't really think of any more ways sex would be. I'd say maybe shoulder to shoulder, still kind of head to head. Maybe front lungs to lungs. Lungs are important. I could see that. Maybe through kissing. Kissing and the production of saliva happens all the time, so you could have lots and lots of kids if you were just drooling on everything, and your drool mixed with mixed with someone else's drool, fertilized eggs, and then they hatched like chicken eggs later. That would certainly work. A simple touch. The skin is always sweating. That would be a great way to procreate. We'd have trillions and trillions of trillions and trillions of humans running around if just a single touch was all that was required. It would also create a very strange society where everybody would be required to be covered from head to toe, not an inch of skin exposed. So, be kind of glad that's not the case. I'm still a proponent, I will mention, of anatomically correct dolls. Not in the sense that, well, I guess in all senses, really. I mean, maybe what you do is you have their underwear painted on so you can't take it off. It's kind of silly that any doll would not allow for that unless that's what you're it's specifically made for teaching sex ed. But proportions as far as hip height, weight, and all of that should be a reasonable and realistic thing. And they should have freckles. They should look more like this little girl than like a supermodel who's not a realistic goal for most people. And they should all probably be a little overweight too, since particularly us people in the United States have a tendency to overindulge in food. I might have had sex 4 times. I don't see any way I could get caught, is the problem. So I don't even think there's a second ending, a secret hidden ending to this game of getting caught. That might be interesting. See what the reaction is. It would be cool if the reaction was the mother sat her down and had a mature talk and explained sex to her after realizing she has resorted to her own experimentation in this sense. It could be a commentary on society if she just flips out and then you see the little dolls melting in the fire because she's thrown them away and she refuses to talk about it. Both of which are situations that feasibly could occur depending on who the mother is. I'm not putting anything negative on the mother because it's just a character and we haven't heard her speak or do one thing, do anything but leave. So I'm gonna just hit A, and then this should be the minimum of actions. So it should say I might have had sex once. And then next time I'm just gonna hit the button as fast as possible. I'm just gonna hit A again as fast as possible and see how high we can get the number up. Gender is if you wanted to make a better statement here, you should have a gender option. Yes, they only made this in 3 days, but if they wanted to continue down this path, make this really a game and not this ridiculous shockwave flash style thing. Have gender options. It's the exact same game if a little boy was playing with dolls trying to figure out the same thing. I might have done sex 1 time and I didn't get caught. I've seen all kinds of stories of sex. I've seen stories of people who had it once and then immediately got pregnant, and most people think, oh, that's statistically impossible, and well, it's not statistically impossible, it's happened. It's unlikely, but not impossible. And then all kinds of medical conditions and problems can arise when straining yourself, when doing something new that you're unfamiliar with. So now I'm gonna just type A as fast as possible. Listen to me pound on the keyboard. Pound it. Pound it. That's right. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Pound on that key. You like it, don't you? Don't you like it? I didn't realize I was gonna make this starting. Oh yeah. There we go. Oh. Yeah. 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 You love it. You know you love it. Go. Go. Almost there. Almost there. Come on. As fast as possible. Faster, slower, harder, softer. To the left, to the right. Up, down. Left, left, right, right. Up, down, A, B, start, select. Come on. We got caught. Sweet. You might have done sex 92 times. Eat mom Saul. Sweet. We got caught. That I have to applaud that. Not that terrible thing I just did recording, but I have to applaud that you can get caught in this game. That's cool. That's two different endings. They don't do anything or anything, but whatever. We got it. We got it to work. So let's see. As we're wrapping up this one, let's do one more and just try and do this for real. Let's see. Come on. The controls are so bad, and this is as a reader of the Kama Sutra several times. Actually, not true. I've only read the sex section of the Kama Sutra and not any of the other sections, which are not translated. And I don't think I've actually read an appropriate translation. I don't know what you would call this as a position. It's not a good position. This is actually one of those positions that could actually burst the blood vessels in the male's member, as it were, and break it, even though there are no bones in it. So you gotta be careful about that. You never want to bend one way or the other way. Some girls, well, not girls, but ladies, physical build too can often have a little bit of a sharp edge on their genitals that can actually cut. As strange as it sounds, it can actually cut at the right angles, and hurt him that way too. And then if a guy is too rough, he can certainly hurt a woman by thrusting a little too emphatically. So in this game, there's no real other way to have actual procreative sex. We can move them up and down, I suppose. We could just do this. This isn't certainly going to make babies. It might be fun for a while and all that, but this is the good old 69, I suppose, with the heads way too high. I cannot independently control our hands. So if they were gonna go further with this, I'd love to see this in the new, in like one of VR systems where it's tracking your hands and you just have 3D dolls. That would be pretty cool. Pretty cool to do it that way, I have to say. If you could get this on the Oculus Rift and you are actually manipulating the dolls as just a demo, as a cool thing, that would be pretty awesome and pretty stupid in the same thought. So what else can you really do? I mean, the angles on these are actually really bad if you're trying to simulate things, which I guess makes a point that she has no idea, because all I can really do is maybe get like a doggy style, but then they're all upside down now, and I can't really control it. So, like, that's not doggy style, anyways. A cowgirl or cowboy style is what I was thinking of. Yeah, I don't think we can do doggy style really. Maybe if we got her twisted around. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Oh man, they're really messing. They almost got it there. They almost got it there when it started doing a spiral graph type of interaction with each other. And so she's a little concerned, but I think any mom that hasn't told her 11-year-old about sex probably hasn't thought of it. Women, I've met a lot of women that have this thing in their head where they just don't think about it, and in general, it just does not occur in their mind to think about it, think about sex as much as guys have either been socialized or through their chemical brain makeup being different think about sex. So yeah, it's possible. I can't really. I think the spiral graph part of this is the funniest part. That it just. Now this doing cartwheels, having your legs go 360 around your head, not physically possible. That is the realm of fantasy. Yep. Just quick, take them apart. Take them as far apart as possible. So, let's wrap up here. I think we've done as much as we can with this stupid thing that claims to be a game and really isn't. Just because something gives you a score and has a little bit of interactivity, I don't, in my mind at least, consider it a game. Do I recommend people play this? It's free, but you just saw me do probably way more than you would ever do with this game. It's dumb. Its message is not that impactful. It doesn't really have that good of a message. It's creepy. Super creepy. I feel like a creep now, having done this game. I particularly feel like a creep having to review this game, or deciding to review it. I really didn't have to, but deciding to review this game so close to doing a Wheels on the Bus Minecraft video for a toddler just to entertain him. And now I've got this creepy game review, which is more kind of in line, but even a little creepier than most of the mature games that I played, like The Binding of Isaac, Rebirth, which is one of my series you should go check out. But yeah, this feels creepy, this feels wrong, it feels dumb, it's not informative, it's not smart, and let's bring it into perspective. It's 2015. Kids have Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is a great source for explaining what sex is. Oh, and by the way, it will give you a plethora of pictures of genitalia and such, so it's a pretty good source for medical-ish pictures too, in case you want to compare the plethora of different body types, which there are. Everybody's a little different. That's the uniqueness of humanity. That everybody's a little different, and so many girls grow up thinking that there's something wrong with their body, when really that message doesn't get out enough. That everybody's different. Not everybody, but everybody's body is a little different, and it all looks kind of weird, and it all looks kind of funny, and that's just how life is. So that's it. How do you do it? Will I ever know? Did I really do sex at all? Will I ever learn what sex is? Maybe in the sequel we will actually learn. Like, it would be dangerous sex territory to make a sequel on this, or go any further with this concept. Although I really would enjoy an Oculus Rift VR, or some kind of VR version of this. That would be funny as a demo, but not really welcome as a game. Going down this, trying to make this like a 3-hour, 6-hour game, even would go into such territories of danger. So we're done with this. If this is the first video you've ever seen of mine, I'd recommend you go to my main YouTube page, click on Rydo, that takes you to my main YouTube page. From there you can click subscribe to subscribe to me. I release 3 videos daily, Monday through Friday, not daily. I get that confused all the time. So three videos around at noon Central Time on Monday through Friday of 3 different games that I play. I have several other games that I have played from beginning to end, and they are in the playlist. There's a button somewhere around there that says playlist. Check all of those out. Watch those whole series too. That will help me out. On my main YouTube page, there is a button that says support this channel. If you want to donate anything, help me make this my career. This is the only thing I'm doing. I'm trying to make a career of it, and hopefully that will work. Any amount you donate whatsoever will be a huge amount of support to me. I just want to get the message that people want to support me. I really am only a little bit interested in the money. I'm more interested that somebody's wanting to give me even $1. Even $1. It's fine. So yes, check out my playlist, lots of series to watch. I hope you enjoy some of my other series. If you thought this was absolutely hilarious, I think you probably should go watch the Binding of Isaac Rebirth episode 1 and see if you find that humor in line with this, because it's probably the most in line of the games I've done. All my other games are more family friendly, let's say, although this game in a sense is very family friendly because it is in a sense promoting the creation of more families. But let's not get into that argument. This game is not kid friendly, and let me rephrase, my other series usually are kid friendly. If you watch my Hearthstone series, the latest episode that's me talking about what's going on my channel and in my life. So watch the first tutorial episode of Hearthstone. If you've never played it, then start watching the daily releases, and you'll be as caught up as anybody else about what's going on. And that's it for my channel. I need people to follow me on Twitter, and I really need people to follow me on Google+. If you have a Gmail account, you have a Google+ account, just click on the Google+ thing from my main YouTube page and put me in a circle. Follow me in any circle you want, and then you never have to go to Google+ again for all I care. But that will help me out with those services. You can friend me on Steam, and you can see how many minutes I've been on this, because I'm gonna have a horribly long time in which I played this game that will be apparent to all my people who friend me on Steam, which is sad. And then you can friend me on battle.net, and if you friend me on battle.net, you might show up in one of my Hearthstone episodes if you play Hearthstone. I guess if you don't play Hearthstone, there's probably little reason to friend me on battle.net, but you can do it anyways. I don't mind. All the usernames and information for friending me on all those things and following me on all those things are down below. Remember, subscribing to me on YouTube is the most important one though. I want to thank you for watching this video, this stupid video about a stupid thing that's claiming to be a video game. This was definitely an experiment. Do you, as a viewer, leave a comment, tell me, do you want me to do more free Steam games? I can do free dumb Steam games all day long and review them if you want. But I knew this was going to be a dumb game before I even hit play, and I think most people would have. I think this one was kind of funny. It was either do this game or go find a terrible zombie first-person shooter type game and review that. On my Steam library, I have lots of games for my Rydo login that I'm trying to build. So if you want to donate games through the Steam and give me games, that will certainly help me, and it will heavily influence me on whether or not I do a series. Just taking away the financial burden of having to buy the game is really, really helpful. And the only reason I say that is because Steam does a lot of sales, and I know a lot of people out there have extra copies of games that they'd be willing to donate. So I don't want to get too beggery there. If I'm going to be really beggery, I'll ask you to do the fan support. That's real money in my pocket helping me pay the bills, and it would be very much appreciated. So we're done. I want to again thank you for putting up with this ridiculousness. And we've had probably what is a semi-tantric recording session here for doing that. Oh, I did want to point out that I don't consider sex a numbers thing personally. I think if you have sex with somebody and it happens to take 4 hours to get it done, you've only had it once. I think most people would count it that way. You would have one 4-hour session, which would be quite an accomplishment in itself. I wouldn't say that there's really another appropriate way to count that as like, is every thrust, every kiss, every action going to be counted at? Because then there's some people out there that are going to get up into the millions, if not billions, if you start counting every action. Oh, and the other thing I guess I can say is, remember, sex is 99% mental. You don't even really need to have your clothes off if you think that way. But I guess that's as dumb a thing as anything to end it on. So thanks for watching. Have a good evening.